Milos to your left here. You know the kind of team you had last season. Now you're wrapped up with non-league play. What have you seen from each of your teammates that gives you kind of feeling like we can probably do what we did this season? Or what do you still think you guys can do to hit another level or two? Because I know the guys sitting right now, there's still plenty more work to do.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of growth just from coming from Vegas. I feel like we still got a lot of work to do. They scored, a lot of baskets that we wouldn't like, but I think defensively we're getting better. We got to get better rebounding, especially me, but I think I see growth for sure.
Can I just quick follow-up? The fact that you guys did win a track meet, Scott, you wouldn't know this, but this was the most possessions you had actually played in a regulation game in more than 2 years. I know you don't want to give that the 8+, but is it a good thing that you won it with a little bit of a different style?
Did you say 2 years?
Yeah, 73 possessions today. You had not played in the game with at least 73 possessions, not overtime, since the second game of the 23-24 season. So, and is it a good thing that you were actually able to win in a different style that you're used to?
Well, that comes down to guards. You know, we have Miller. Miller didn't play a lot of minutes today, but he's been playing well. Harwell got us going a little bit. I know JoJo's defense and Isaiah's threes got us some separation. Emanuel wasn't very good in the first half. Milos was at best solid. I know Kingston was just, I just thought he was okay. But we're up 49-41, and it seemed like we played our worst basketball the last 3 minutes. But I knew that we could play better. But we got the foul trouble with Tugler was a big factor. Senac I thought was really good rebounding. He had 7 rebounds, 4 for 8 from the floor. In moments like this, Fleming is still 18 years old. Senac's a freshman. The kid that made the 3 in the corner, he's a freshman. Isaiah's a freshman. We played 4 freshmen today. And then the A-Cup kid is, he's going to be special. He's headed that way. I think it hurt Cal in the first half when Brazil got in foul trouble. But so did Senac. And then it really hurt us when JoJo got in foul trouble late. So, but we had some cards to play because we could space the floor. We have this action we call ghost. We ghosted and got some baskets, and we ghosted into a middle ball screen, and our spacing was excellent. When they came to the ball, we sprayed it. When they didn't, we got it to the rim. And then I think that was the first time we played zone since I was at Montana Tech. I'm just being facetious, but it's been a while. But we've been working on it, just like all coaches do. Everybody works on something because you never know when you're going to need it, and today we needed it. So we went 1-2-2, back to 3-2, bought us some possessions. It'll never be our fastball, but it's nice to know you got a curveball.
Go to Chris, front left.
Kelvin, you 4 guys are not defending well. 12 off the bench, you did that really well. What does that do for you to have that, balance?
Yeah. After the game, we told our guys it was having Ramon as a blessing. He came back for his 5th year. His freshman year, I think we beat UAB, Illinois, the Big Ten champs, then we beat Arizona, the Pac-12 champs, to get to the Elite 8. And then we lost a tough game against Villanova. But Ramon averaged about 20 minutes on that team as a freshman. So I knew that his experience would be there. But the thing about Ramon, and Emanuel said something after the game that I thought was apropos, was that, he's one of the captains. He's our toughest guy on a team full of guys. We got some tough guys. Tugler really is a good player. You couldn't tell it today, but he's a good player. But Ramon comes off the bench, and he's created a really good niche for himself. And sometimes they have to do it. Coach can't always do that for you. It's your job to create your own niche. Then you put me in a position where I have to play it. Now, if you constantly look at me for all your answers, then sometimes you're going to have to sit out there and figure it out yourself. So good for Ramon that he's established himself for this team. Because, our best one-on-one defender is Khalifa, who got hurt in the, what game did he get hurt? New Orleans? Yeah, he didn't play tonight. And so Lott normally doesn't play much. So we had to put him in the game, and he struggled at times. But I think when we get everybody in there healthy, our team can get better. How good can we be? I never think about that. I just know we can get better.
Coach, as you mentioned, you guys are playing freshmen. What's important to having ranked?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
As you mentioned, you guys are playing freshmen.
Yes.
What's important to having ranked matchups throughout the season for experience?
Yeah, well, this is the best team we've played. We played to this point. We played Auburn early. We played Auburn in Birmingham. So we played Auburn, Syracuse, Tennessee, Notre Dame, Florida State, and Arkansas. Arkansas's they're going to be good, and they're going to get better. When you got Thomas and Acuff, and then the left-handed kid, what's his name? Richmond. Richmond kid's dynamic. Their pieces. They have really, really good pieces in this. We're not even to Christmas yet. They're going to get better and better. I think Arkansas has as good a chance as anybody to win the SEC this year.
Coach, a vast majority of the players on your team have only ever worn a Cougars jersey. How important is that continuity in a sport that is increasingly rare to find?
Yeah, if you were just check our win-loss record or all the years what our records are, I think the statistic that is just for today's college basketball that's amazing is that in the last 11 years in our top 10 players, we've only had 4 kids transfer. Our kids don't transfer. They'll come back. Last year's team went to the championship game. That team had 4 starters back from the year before. This team has 3 starters back and our entire bench. We had 1 kid transfer, and that was a mutual decision because I didn't think he would start, and he needed to go. It was a senior year, and he needed to go somewhere where he could start. So our program is, we recruit freshmen and we develop them. We don't have many portal kids. I think we have 1 on this team this year, right? We only have 1 portal kid. Last year we only had 1. I think the year before we might have had 1 or 2. But most of our kids are in their second. Like Ramon's in his 5th year. Emanuel's in his 5th year.
4.5.
4.5. Milos in his 2nd year. JoJo's in his 3rd year. So, everybody does it different. There's no wrong way or right way. It's just your way, and this is my way.
But if you talk about spacing, or could you talk about the defense, especially the weak side, in the second half?
Yeah.
You guys really clamped down on the second half of defense.
Yeah, I thought our defense was good for a large portion of the second half, and it was because that was a good observation by you because we were good at that. Now, they hit a bunch of threes there toward the end when we were in our 3-2. Still trying to figure out how to play that thing with this group. But I think we got our separation with our defense, and then we kept it with our spacing. Just spacing the floor and getting in the paint, making the right play. And then we had some kids make some some open shots that it's nice to see go down. But you know, we work really hard on defense. That speaks to Arkansas's talent, that they scored 85 points. You know, they're good enough to do that, and thank goodness we were good enough to score 94.
The last question will go to Chris on the left.
Milos, those actions you were running and having all the guards out there, how did that get on the floor? For you guys, the running that and having multiple guards.
Yeah, I mean, we got 3 guards out there, me, King, and E. We've been all spacing the floor out. We've been all penetrating and kick. So, I mean, we just got into a lot of ghost actions towards the end of the game. Tried to keep the ball in our hands and make a decision. So.
Coach Milos, Emanuel, thank you for your time.
Yeah.